You're listening to PetLifeRadio.com.
Hey everyone, this is Michelle Fern, host of Best Bets for Pets on PetLifeRadio.com. Wow, wait till you hear about the product I'm going to tell you about today. Stay tuned, you're not going to want to miss this.
We'll be right back, right after these messages. Stay tuned.
Petco, where the pets go. Petco, where the pets go.
Pet Life Radio has tail-wagging, fur-flying, fabulous deals for our listeners from Petco. Get $6 off your order of $60 or more and up to 40% off the entire Petco site. That's right. But that's not all. Because you're a Pet Life Radio listener, you'll also get free shipping on your order of $49 or more. $6 off, up to 40% off, and free shipping from Pet Life Radio and Petco. To get these awesome deals, go to PetcoDeals.com. That's PetcoDeals.com.
Petco, where the pets go.
I don't make any decisions about who to hire without going to Angie's List first.
You'll find reviews on home repair to healthcare, written by people just like you.
With Angie's List, I know who to call, and I know the results will be fantastic.
Angie's List, who you can trust.
Go to angieslist.com/best and get 25% off any subscription. That's angieslist.com/best. BEST.
Aquariums and pond keeping are among the most popular of all hobbies in the United States and throughout the world. In fact, fish are probably the most numerous pet in people's homes and in their businesses. In Aquarium Mania, we'll learn more about the secret and not-so-secret life of fish and other inhabitants, the basics of good aquarium keeping, the complexities of the aquarium industry, and the science and art that surround this fascinating hobby. I'm your host, Roy Anong, and I'd like to thank you for joining us. Aquarium Mania.
Every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com. Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back, everyone. I'd like to introduce Brad Stroetz. He's the sales manager of BioBubble. Welcome, Brad.
Thank you, Michelle. Glad to be here.
We're glad to have you. Now, BioBubble is one of the most unique types of products I've ever seen. It's so different. It's just very different. Can you explain to my listeners what BioBubble is?
Yeah, no problem. The BioBubble is an animal habitat that can be actually used to create habitats or environments for any number of small land animals. Also, it does aquatics. So from one particular kit, you can do fresh or salt water as well. You can also do environments for hamsters, gerbils, lizards, snakes, turtles, frogs. And the really cool feature about it is that most people don't know is it also makes a really good greenhouse. And so it does everything sort of a product, and it's very unique in how it looks and functions because it is modular. It's something that if someone wants to be creative, they can add all kinds of different risers and different accessories to really make it look and function the way that they want to. So instead of a box that they just put some, environmental stuff, some plants and, some bedding and things like that, they can actually do something much more creative. They're not limited to that old box shape.
Another neat feature is that how it contains the product. If there's water inside or, sand and aquarium stuff and that kind of a thing. How does that work? How can you explain that?
Okay, well, probably the best way to explain is really the way that it looks, and this is how I would describe it. Picture the old-fashioned snow globe. Now, if you remember the old snow globe, you got the water, you got different things, you shake it around. It's kind of a fun, cool little toy. Ours looks very similar to that. And in the snow globe form, without any kind of risers, you would have an actual aquatic setup. So basically, there's a filtration unit that goes in the center of that snow globe shape. Obviously, it's a 3-gallon aquarium. So whether you're doing salt or fresh water, it would fill that entire globe. And then inside the globe, whatever you want to put in there as far as rocks, there's certain decorations. And actually, we just started releasing our own decorations that fit exactly with the BioBubble product. But basically, you can fill up sand in the bottom, put any other different decorations, and then depending on what type of aquatic type environment you're creating, like I said, whether it be salt or fresh water, that would just depend on what you put into it in terms of the water, in terms of the fish, and in terms of that. So that's the basic aquatic setup. Now, from there, if you picture that same snow globe, there are different risers that you can put on. And actually, the Premium Plus kit comes with everything that someone would need to do the aquatic version, as well as doing a land environment. But there's an 8-inch riser that comes with that. We also sell 12-inch riser accessories. Those can be clear, so you can see nice through them. They can be like a fence-like, we call mesh riser. But basically, if you take the dome off of that snow globe and then add that riser in between, then you get the different other land environments. And the way that our new product, the new BioBubble Premium Plus kit comes, you can actually remove the filtration system that would be in as a part of the aquatic setup and have a nice big flat area. And then, of course, with some of the accessories, you can kit that out to be more specific for the habitats that you're trying to create. Like we have a hamster deck that allows you to place on top of the riser, in between the riser and the dome, the nice little deck that they can climb up to, so it expands the living space for the animal, as well as it has like a bedding area, and it just makes it all around kind of a fun place for them to live. And the really cool thing is because you can keep adding as many risers as you need, you can do multiple layers. And like I said, once again, make it something that's very unique to your needs and what you're trying to do as a hobbyist, and also to make a really interesting environment for the animal to live in.
Now, you talk so much about the advantages, and it's such a unique product, so different than any type of aquarium type product I've ever seen. But besides obvious, what are some other advantages than, the standard type of aquarium?
Okay, well, I think some of the advantages that I would basically say about the product, for the first thing would be really, it is something that's unique in how it looks. Aesthetically, it's very pleasing. So for somebody who wants to have a small aquarium on their desk, or even a small little land animal environment, or they want to put something like a plant on their desk, it's something that actually is visually appealing because of its shape, because it is round, because it is like a globe. It's something that you would be proud to put out on the desk and looks inviting. And so I think just from an aesthetic perspective, it's something that's very unique. I mean, most of the things that you see in the marketplace today are boxes. They're square, they're functional, but, it's not something you're going to be proud to display on the edge of a desk. So for one thing, I think that's something that really separates the product from other products that may be out there that would meet the need of making a habitat. As well, I think, just the idea of the modularity of it. I mean, to me, that's like a huge thing because it isn't stagnant. I mean, everything that if you're a creative person and you're looking to do something outside the box, we give you the tools and things that you can do that, more so than just the decorations, but as well how the product comes together. And, at the end of the day, I think people are looking for something that they can use across the board over the course of time as their interest in hobbies change. It's something that, you may get into it and do fish at one point, but then later on, down the road, as your interests change, maybe you move to a bigger fish tank when you're doing salt water or something like that. Now you've got this nice, habitat that you can change and use for something else. So, and because of the way it's made, we make it with high-end acrylics and polycarbonates. It's something that's going to be around for quite some time. The quality is there. So specifically, if you give it to a kid, and they get into a particular animal, as they grow and as their interests change over the course of their childhood, this can change with that as well. So it's not limited to just being a a one-off solution for the consumer. It actually becomes something that they can utilize throughout a course of a decade, perhaps, on several different types of animals.
How does this compare to the standard type of aquarium for as far as cleaning on a regular basis or maybe cleaning on a complete basis?
Yeah, I think that in terms of, an aquatic setup, you're looking at something that's actually very easy to maintain. The reason why is our filtration system that we have, it's a pump filtered filtration system. But basically, the way that turns over the water inside the tank, it's 60 gallons per hour, which means in the course of an hour, it's going to turn that thing over 20 times. So it actually keeps the tank very clean. For the fish, the water is very clean because it's got a disposable carbon-infused pad. You can easily replace that and keep that going. So what I've found, because I use it personally as an aquarium myself, what I've found is with very minimal amount of maintenance, you can keep that going for a long time. Now, we also, because of our carbon fresh pad with the land animals, keeps the odor down. It's very, very easy to clean because with a few clips being, lifted off, you can take the whole entire dome off. Of course, we have with the aquatic setup, there's the bellows that expand that allow you to take the dome off without losing any of the water. And then you have easy access to the whole entire aquatic setup. So if you need to change out any of your decorations, if you need to put in new fish, take out fish, whatever you need to do, you can do that. As well, if you need to do a water change with the aquatic setup, it's very easy because there is a hole in the top of the dome that you can actually siphon out water and cycle in new fresh water whenever you need to. So it's, in terms of its maintenance, it's very easy to do on both ends of the spectrum, aquarium or land animal use. It's very, very simple, and we designed it that way, so it's something that you can easily, do as you need to.
This is such a unique item and it's so hard to visualize. I really hope my listeners can take time to take a look at it online. Where can they find out a little bit more about what it looks like? And I know there's a video someplace. Can you tell our listeners about it?
Yeah, no problem. Exactly. We have on our website, which is www.biobubblepets.com. That's very important to know because if you go to BioBubble, it's some kind of hazmat company, so it's a whole different thing. But if you go to biobubblepets.com, we do have a demonstration video on there, which will show you not only the basic elements of the kit that you would buy, but then as it's kitted out to work with the different types of animals, we have some demonstrations that are on there that you can kind of see. Now, as well, we also have the same video on YouTube. So if you are on YouTube, you can go over there and just type in BioBubble Pets, and you'll be directed to our page. There's a couple of videos on there, but you really get a chance to see what I'm talking about. And you'll be like, yeah, it does look like a snow globe.
It's so unique. Where did the idea come for the BioBubble?
Okay. Yeah, so the idea of the BioBubble, it's been a few years now. It's been about 5 years ago that this came to Genesis. And basically, the inventor, he was actually in the business of maintaining and building custom tanks for, businesses and homes and that sort of a thing. And he really had a passion for the hobby, for saltwater fish, for just animals in general. And looking across the market of what was available to the average consumer when they walked into a store, he began to kind of think about the idea of, what is really drawing people into the hobby these days. All of us remember back in the 70s, the habit trails with the gerbils and hamsters, and people really got into that. That was something that was exciting, and it was stimulating for people to get into that particular hobby. Looking across the landscape, there's nothing really getting people into the hobby. And so anyways, he had that in the back of his mind. They're, thinking just in his head. He's a very creative individual. Just what is out there? What would draw people to buy pets, to buy fish, to get into these hobbies? And one day he was driving down the road and suddenly it occurred to him a bubble. And so he started kind of sketching on a napkin. It's kind of it sounds almost like the traditional story of the creative genius. They're, in the middle of eating, and he started sketching something on a napkin and really thinking about it. And then, went forward and started putting together some prototypes and, testing this and testing that and figuring out, how to make certain things function. Like, how do you make a bubble that you can actually get to everything without worrying about, the water coming out and that kind of thing. So, and then, with a couple of years of development, we were able to go to production on that particular product, and now we're just expanding that line into a couple of different items now. BioBubble, there's a Terra, there's the Wonder Bubble now. So, we're bubbling it out right now. So, but that's the genesis of it, is just really to come up with something that really lures the consumer to say, I would be interested in doing something. This really is a cool thing. I'd like to have that cool thing and put a cool animal in it.
It's so unique. Listeners, I really hope you go to BioBubble Pets and take a look at this item. It's so different, more different than anything I've ever seen. Now, congratulations. You did win an award at the recent Global Pet Expo. What was that award?
Well, basically, it was a top honors for products in the show. Basically, I guess they have some different categories, and you can compete for new items. So what we did is we actually entered our newest item, which is the Wonder Bubble. It's a much less expensive, sort of entry-level, getting into the BioBubble universe sort of a product. Looks more like an egg, but we wanted to really put that out there because, we're proud of it. We think it's a neat item, and we wanted to see how it would do against all the other new items that were coming out for this year. So we put that into the show. We weren't really expecting anything. We just, we always kind of figure, other people will probably win, but we went out to see the award ceremony, and guess what? We ended up winning. So we were very happy about that, and so now we have an award-winning product, and now we're going to another show here in the summer, and we're going to enter all of our stuff in it. So we kind of got us excited. So we actually have the award. It sits proudly in our award cabinet here at the office, and we're looking to fill that up with more innovative, product awards.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
You said that you're also coming out with some new items as far as aquarium pieces. Can you tell us about them?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We got into it with one product and its accessories. And as we started getting into the marketplace, we realized that there's definitely, some need for interesting type items. And that's really the motto that we really go by, is everything we want to do in terms of our product lines that we put out, whether it be something as creative as the BioBubble or Wonder Bubble, or as we get into resin decorations for tanks, aquariums, terrariums, and those sorts of things, we want it to be something that kind of stands out in a unique fashion. So we started looking into it ourselves over the past year and started putting together our own ideas, and now we're actually going to be, within the next couple of months, coming out with a complete catalog of our own resin decorations, as well as something I think is really cool, which is we have these really cool glow-in-the-dark rocks, some that look like river stones, some that look more like pebbles and that sort of a thing. But they glow in the dark, and we can make a really neat glow-in-the-dark tank with fish and our lighting that we have for the aquarium. And as well, we have some stones, and they're glass stones and rocks that are just colored like red and blue and black, and just really cool stuff that you don't see very often, that when people see it on the shelves, they're going to be like, oh, that's something different. And we'll have them prepackaged so that it'll be the right amount for the BioBubble kits and the Wonder Bubble kits. However, anybody could put them in any tank.
Thank you so much for telling us about these new items. It's such a cool product. Listeners, please take the time, go look up biobubblepets.com. Take a look at the product. Take a look at the video. It is so different than anything. It's not your regular type of aquarium. It's very, very different. Brad, where can our listeners find BioBubble?
We have BioBubble in independent pet stores. We're also in some of the independent educational supply stores. So essentially, there should be an independent retailer in your area currently that carries the product. We expand that list every day. So, and we're actually going to be getting on soon onto the internet with the product as well. So they should be able to find it either by an internet search, or if they just go over to their local independent, pretty much I'm guaranteeing that they'll find it. So, and if not, then they need to tell the independent to give us a call because they need to get the product in. But for sure, we're nation to nation, and we're in, several hundred stores currently, and we're just expanding that all the time. So they should be able to find it in their community at an independent.
All right, great. Is there anything that I didn't ask that you wanted to talk about with?
Yeah, I mean, basically for me, at the end of the day, this is something that is in really a new category. I mean, there's really nothing that you can find in the marketplace that really does go from one type of habitat to another and meets the needs of all those different types of animals. So for us, it's a unique proposition that we're putting out there, and we're really creating a new genre, something that hasn't existed to this point. But we're making it exist because we saw that this is something that, especially in today's economy, how many times do you want to buy different types of aquariums and terrariums and things like that when in a couple of years when the interest in the hobby changes, those things end up in a garage sale somewhere or in your garage itself or put up in the attic, where instead we have a product that actually makes financial sense to get into because you can continually use it over and over in multiple different ways by just really adding a simple and affordable accessory to the product, and now you have a completely different type of environment. So it's really a good solution across the board for the consumer as well as the retailer. So we just think that this thing is the coolest thing, of course, but we think it has a very unique proposition that nobody else can really claim.
That it is. Very unique. Very unique.
I do want to make people aware that during the last week of April and into the first week of May, that fab.com, which only requires you to register, there's no cost to it, we'll be having the product on sale. So if people do look at this and they are interested in the product, I would recommend that if it's within that window that they go and take a look, and they can buy it actually at a discount on their site. So not only would they be able to get the product, but they'll be able to get it a little bit cheaper than the manufacturer suggested retail. So I definitely would recommend. So it's fab.com, and it's the last Friday through the first week of May.
Thanks, Brad, for coming on Best Bets for Pets and telling our listeners all about the BioBubble. Listeners, this is such a cool product. You have to take a look at it. You can find out more at biobubblepets.com, also on the episode page of this segment. You can also see a YouTube video if you do a search for BioBubble Pets. I'd also like to thank my crew, Nikki Dennis and Mr. Z, as well as my producer for making myself and my guests sound great. Stay tuned for another great show.
We'll be right back right after these messages. Stay tuned.
Every pet is unique. Maybe they're gray in the muzzle, yet young at heart. Maybe they're growing out of the puppy stage and into their paws and ears. Or maybe they're just trying to maintain a more girlish figure. At PetSmart, we have the right food for your pet at a great value for you. PetSmart. Be better together.
Go to PetSmartDeal.com and save up to 30% on awesome gifts for the pets and pet people in your life. Toys, collars, leashes, PetSmart gift cards, treats, and more. Go to PetSmartDeal.com today. PetSmartDeal.com.
Dyson.
The new Dyson Animal Vacs are powerful bagless upright vacuums for homes with pets. Air muscle and radio root cyclone technology generates the strongest suction power to powerfully remove dust, dirt, and pet hair from the home or car. To order your Dyson Animal Vac, go to DysonDeals.com. DysonDeals.com to order your Dyson Animal Vac today.
Dyson. Music to your ears.
I'm not much of a reader, but I do wish I were more well-read.
There are so many great books coming out. I wish I could find a way to keep up.
Audible.com makes it easy to stay well-informed and catch up on your reading simply by listening. Audiobooks from Audible turn downtime into uptime. You'll be more productive and become well-read.
Now I'm able to catch up on all the great books I've been wanting to read.
With Audible, I feel smarter.
Pet Life Radio listeners, try Audible.com now and get your first 30 days of Audible Listener Gold membership plan free. And get a free audiobook. Choose from over 100,000 titles. To get this great deal, go to audibledeals.com. That's audibledeals.com.
Thinking about buying a monkey? How about a ferret or a skunk? Then check out the show that will answer the burning questions: where do you get them? What do you feed them? How do you take care of them? And most of all, what were you thinking? With exotic pet expert and author Bob Tart. every week on demand from PetLifeRadio.com.
Let's talk pets.
Let's talk pets
On Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Hi everyone, welcome to Best Beds for Pets. I'm your show host, Michelle Fern. Today we're going to talk about your pet's health. What's more important? I have with me Erin Hay from Nordic Naturals. She is the retail pet sales representative for Nordic Naturals. Welcome, Erin.
Hi there.
Can you tell our listeners a little bit about Nordic Naturals?
Sure. Nordic Naturals specializes in omega-3 fish oils, not only for cats and dogs, but for babies and people as well. We are endorsed by the American Pregnancy Association for our prenatal DHA product. And I always like to mention that because of the sensitive nature of pet discussions. Pets are part of our vulnerable and sensitive families, and we like to protect them the best ways we can. And Nordic Naturals, we pride ourselves on a very pure and fresh product. We source our product from Norway and from Peru. Nordic Naturals started our fish oil program in about 1998. Our company is owned by a Norwegian man, Joar Opheim, and he came to California to go to Santa Clara University and found that during his studies as a gymnast and as an athlete that he couldn't find the quality of cod liver oil that he was accustomed to. So he built a company around his standards and his use of cod liver oil as a young athlete and defined and really set the standard for omega-3 fatty acids in the natural foods industry. In 2008, we made the natural extension to start the pet product, and it was something that we started with the cod liver oil, and we also migrated to the gel caps, the omega-3 pet, which is a sardine and anchovy oil. So Nordic Naturals really focuses on purity and freshness in omega-3 products. We have a multivitamin as well on the human side, but we really are specialists in the simple ingredients of fish oil. So that's a little bit about Nordic Naturals. We have over 80 items, something over 80 items on the human side. Like I said, everything from baby's DHA to omega joint, omega vision, so sort of on the other side of the spectrum for age-related issues. Omega-3s we blend with synergistic compounds to really help all life stages, and we do that with a blend of omega-3s and some other supplements as well.
You mentioned that your product is pure and fresh. Now, I understand, things need to be pure and fresh for just about everything, maybe except wine. But what's the benefit of, what's so important that your omega-3, your cod liver oil is pure and fresh as opposed to just, a little bit old? I mean, does it make a big difference in taking it?
Yeah, it does. That's a great question. So let me just start with purity. Purity really equates to palatability when it comes to fish oil. So purity starts on the boat. Purity starts with the ability to use nitrogen to isolate the oxygen, because oxygen is the main culprit for oxidation and rancidity in fish oil. So that on the boat, we flush the fish in nitrogen. At the plant, the environment is completely nitrogen enhanced so that there is not oxidation. And then in the bottles are flushed with nitrogen as well. And that's a key component to freshness in our product. So one of the documents that really illustrates purity and freshness in fish oil is what's called the Certificate of Analysis. And I recommend and I request any of our listeners to feel free to request that document from us at any time with a lot number and an expiration date on your bottle. And what this document says is how fresh is this product? And that's a little bit of a scientific explanation, but we've created in our marketing department a document that tells you how to read this. And both of those pieces are really important when it comes to fish oil on the market, because purity is one component that equates to palatability, as I said. And for dogs and cats, we don't use a flavored oil for our dogs and cat product, we use an unflavored omega-3 pet and an unflavored pet cod liver oil. Because it's so fresh, you open the bottle and you expect to smell something very fishy. But what a fresh fish oil smells like is really like an essential oil with an essence of fish, and it's always surprising to people. Let me switch topics and talk about purity with regards to fish oil and the oceans. Nordic Naturals really prides itself on the purity of our oil in the sense that dioxins, PCBs, furans, other things that probably sound familiar and menacing to people, they exist in our oceans. Whether we like that or not, it is the reality. And Nordic Naturals goes through a molecular distillation process to remove those PCBs. And our fish oils are about 50 times more pure than a lot of the other fish oils on the market. And again, I can't say that without bringing attention to that certificate of analysis, because it's that certificate that really proves that shows the tolerances in those environmental toxins. So we really pride ourselves on the purity, and that's why we were endorsed by the American Pregnancy Association. When it comes to pregnant mothers, when it comes to babies, those things need to be scrutinized, and when it comes to our precious dogs and cats, to the nth degree, and we've done that.
I know that I tried the product, and my dogs and cats, they like the taste, and Mr. Z's super picky. He doesn't like anything, so I didn't think he would, but, I just gave him a tablespoon, a little bit, and he was fine with it.
Yeah.
How does omega-3 and cod liver oil, how does that benefit our pets?
Yeah, so omega-3s have the very important essential fatty acids called EPA and DHA. And when it comes to essential fatty acids, that word essential is key. They're essential parts of our diet, but our body can't make them. So essential fatty acids, EPA and DHA, come naturally in cold water fish. They come in flax. They come in other things. But what we found is that the cold water fish, like sardine and anchovy, like cod and salmon, for example, they are rich in EPA and DHA, these essential fatty acids. What happens is, in our diet today, our human diet as well as the reflected diet in our dogs and cats and the commercial diets of dogs and cats, is it's loaded with omega-6s. And I'm just going to explain this a little bit, and then I'll get into how is it helping different conditions with dogs and cats. But omega-6s are also essential fatty acids that are essential in our diet, but we get a ton of them in our foods, in our oils, soy oils, corn oils. A lot of the commercial diets have an abundance of omega-6s. Now, what they don't have, many foods do have omega-3s, but they don't have the therapeutic doses to really make a difference. And when I talk about a difference being made from omega-3 fish oils, one of the first things that we notice in about 3 to 4 weeks, once the cells have been able to be saturated with EPA and DHA, is skin and coat. You'll really start to see lush skin and coat, sometimes itchy, dry skin issues, or even flea issues that are skin sensitivity can be really supported with omega-3 fish oils, in that it acts to support the body's natural anti-inflammation response. So just saying that fish oils act to support the body's natural anti-inflammatory response means that, active border collie that is running 90 miles an hour like my own has inflammation, inevitably. He's an athlete, and when I am giving him fish oil on a daily basis, he maintains his flexibility, he maintains his energy level. He's, of course, black and white like border collies are, and he is a glossy, shiny black dog with just a great disposition. There are very few studies, I'll have to say, on the pet side with regards to behavior, but there is a lot to say on the human side that DHA in particular, of the EPA and DHA, is very helpful for aggressivity issues and other issues on the mental health side, on the human health side, that we can kind of extrapolate that might have some benefits for dogs and cats. Again, those studies are still out there and being done, but one of the things that sets Nordic Naturals apart with regards to studies is that there are over 40 studies in progress using Nordic Naturals oils on the human health side. there are about 20 studies that are already published. And if you go to omegaresearch.com, I'm kind of giving a plug on the human side, but this really illustrates how seriously we take health, human health, as well as the health of our dogs and cat companions. And it's something that a lot of notable institutions have also seen. The effectiveness of our oils and the safety of our oils are such that they're using them in really important studies all over the world.
Well, that's great information, especially if our listeners want to learn more after listening to this episode. So the main products for pets are omega-3 and the pet cod liver oil.
Correct.
Okay. Are there any other products coming out in the near future?
Well, as an innovative company, the answer is yes, but it's just a little premature to talk about those quite yet. What we are coming out with in May is an important little niche product for the cat world, and it's the cod liver oil in the 2-ounce size. And the reason we have the small sizes, the 2-ounce in the cod liver oil as well as the omega-3 pet, is because the fresh liquid oil is vulnerable to oxidation, as I said, and needs to be refrigerated. And once opened, needs to be used within 3 months. So when you have one single cat or one small dog, you're going to want to use that 2-ounce product. And we hadn't had the 2-ounce for the cod liver oil crowd. So we do coming here in May, and that will be one of our newest products. But stay tuned, because we will have other things coming down the pike here towards the end of next year or middle of next year. But we definitely see the synergies. We definitely are committed to correcting the omega-3 imbalance, not just for human health, but for our extended families and our dogs and cats as well. I mean, that's one of the goals of Nordic Naturals, is to be the world's safest, most effective omega oil, and to correct that omega-3 deficiency. And it's our owner's 150-year vision that he wants to create across generations and across the planet healthier folks and healthier dogs and cats. And so when they started the pet division in 2008, it was just really a natural extension to what everybody cares about. Our company are loaded with pet owners, and our customers certainly are. And so it's something that we're having a lot of fun with, in addition to taking very seriously, because it's the pet world, as you know, Michelle, that brings out the authenticity in a business sense. You start talking about somebody's dogs or cats, and we get to do that on a daily basis. We get to talk about serious health issues, but we also get to talk about the great love and attention that our pets give us, and that's something that just enriches our company all the more. So, yeah, with regards to where you can find our product, we are very active on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter. As far as finding our product, we do on our website at nordicnaturals.com, we have a store locator. So we always like to support our local retailers. And there are quite a few online retailers that sell our product as well. So you're not at a loss to find the product. And, and we always like to support the retailers out in the field.
Thank you so much. Listeners, you can find out more also on the show page of this episode. There'll be a link to the Nordic Naturals website, picture of the product, and a little bit about Nordic Naturals. So is there any other information, any other tips you can give us? Does the cod liver oil or omega-3, is there anything other benefits for our pets other than the skin and coat and maybe agility? Is there any benefits for pets that are ill with, like right after surgery or
I'm glad you asked that. There's more to say on that topic, certainly. After surgery, actually before surgery, fish oil affects blood platelet activity. So one of the cautionary things with fish oil is that if your dog or cat is going in for surgery, you want to stop their fish oil intake for a good 7 to 10 days beforehand, because it affects, like I said, the blood platelet activity and basically makes the blood platelets smoother, so they move quicker, and you can bleed a little more easily. So that's something to watch out for with regards to fish oils and surgery. But there are so many things that fish oil does. It's essentially food. So if consumers and people want to just think about it as food, of course it is, and we've been eating fish for thousands of years, and we've gotten away from that. But what you're going to see for aging dogs in particular aching muscles, aching bones. It goes back to that natural anti-inflammatory response. Especially with older dogs and cats, you're going to see some more mobility. You're going to see some more comfort. You're certainly going to see that great skin and coat. On the human health side, there are a ton of studies with regards to heart health and brain and eye health. And those same studies relate to dogs and cats. So healthy brain and eyes. One of the distinctions with the cod liver oil product is that it is rich naturally in vitamin A. And vitamin A is important for normal vision, immune function, fetal development, and things like that, maintaining healthy skin cells, for example. One of the things I'll say about vitamin A, however, is that it is a rich source. It fluctuates from anywhere between 1,000 IUs and 1,200 IUs of vitamin A. And folks are taking their pet's health, fortunately, into their own hands, and they're often feeding things like multivitamins, and they're feeding rich liver treats. The vitamin A, it's a fat-soluble vitamin, and while it's an essential vitamin in the diets of dogs and cats, it can be accumulated in the liver, and they can get too much vitamin A. So it's always good to really analyze the sources of vitamin A. Now, what A is listed in a dog food, for example, doesn't concern me. It's really the multivitamins where you're getting an extra amount, and that's something that we like to bring attention to as well. But yeah, I mean, you said it. The dogs and cats really respond to and like the oil. It's not so much, and even the pickiest ones do. So once you get them in the habit of doing that, whether it's with soft gels, if that's easier for you, or with the liquid oils, you're really going to see a difference. And we love to see the before and afters on our Facebook page, for example. So if you're just thinking about this and you're thinking to yourself that you've wanted to get started with a supplement and fish oil helps you, for example, get your dog and cat on fish oil, take a picture of them, and then take a picture in about 3 or 4 weeks and send it to us on Facebook. We would love to see that.
Oh, that's a great idea. Thank you so much, Erin, for coming on Best Bets for Pets and telling our listeners all about Nordic Naturals and the benefits of cod liver oil and omega-3 for our pets.
You're sure welcome. Thanks for the opportunity.
Listeners, be sure to go to NordicNaturals.com for more information. You can find a wealth of information there, and again on the episode page. Thanks, Erin, for coming on Best Bets for Pets and telling our listeners all about Nordic Naturals and the benefits of cod liver oil and omega-3 for our pets. Thanks to my team, Dennis, Mr. Z, and Nikki, for trying these great products from Nordic Naturals. And thanks to Mark Winter, my producer, for making me and my guests sound great. If you have any questions or comments, you can write to me at michelle@petliferadio.com. Thank you so much for listening.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.